All right, Battle Buddies. Thanks for tuning in today. This is TED Talk, like we'll call it. So, I get a lot of feedback from phone calls that I have every day with guys and instant messages and all of this stuff. A lot goes beyond what you'll see on the Facebook page. And there's a consistent vibe that I get as far as it's kind of that inevitable, what am I going to be when I grow up stuff. And it's interesting because you would think as you get older, you'd have a little more clarification on what that is, but it tends to get more confusing as time goes on. And you'd think that your sergeant majors and first sergeants and lieutenant colonels and stuff would be more definitive in that. But they are actually just as confused, if not more confused, than the average guy that I get that walks in the program, that's an E4 kind of fella, or maybe a pretty new sergeant. And I remember when I was going through BNOC in the 90s, this sergeant major getting in front of us talking about how he had 29 and a half years, and in 6 months he was retiring, and he was going to lose a lot of comfort. And it was really confusing to me. So I was probably 22-ish, I'm guessing, when I was going through this. And it didn't make any sense. How can this senior enlisted guy who's made it as far as you can on the enlisted corps side not know what he wants to be when he grows up? So, as I'm now probably the same age as that guy, I'm 47, so probably the same age. I find myself in the same situation often, or I have up to this point, and I know a lot of my buddies that I've grown up with, same thing. A lot of my friends that stayed enlisted, they retired as first sergeant, sergeant majors, same type of stuff now that we've got 2.0 of us out there. So about a year ago, or this getting back to the sergeant major, his comfort was I know where I need to be. I know what I'm going to do. I know what I'm going to wear. I'm going to put the same suit on every single day. That was BDUs back in the day. And do my job. Whereas, he doesn't have that lieutenant colonel or full bird telling him what he's got to do for the day when he gets into his 2.0. So I think back to a year ago, I had this lady show up in the program, and retired Air Force, cybersecurity kind of person, doing a lot of stuff, interagency stuff. And she says, I'm this. And I was like, I don't know what this is, but it's really confusing because I'm not an Air Force person, because you guys got a lot of different shit over there that you do. So there happened to be a younger girl in the program coming in to help, and she started telling this woman that you should come to these networking meetings with me, and women in IT and all these other local organizations here in Minneapolis. So time goes by, and this woman who, I don't know if you guys call them drill sergeants, or what's the Air Force call them, butlers or concierge people for your 5-week basic training or whatever it is. So she could have been one of them, but she was pretty badass. Anyway, after probably another 3-4 weeks goes by, all of a sudden she started telling me about how excited she was that there's all of these opportunities out in the civilian sector that she had no clue about. And everything was really cool. And all of a sudden she starts brainstorming on this, all these other things that she wanted to do. So to make this story as short as possible, she finally tells me what she wants to do. I get a hold of one of the battle buddies that's over at Wells and gets her an interview, and boom, 30 days later, whatever it was, she had a start date. So she is not doing what she did in the Air Force. She got this insight because she was networking. And don't get afraid of the word networking. Networking is just having conversations. showing people that you're not a jackass. People letting them know that you're a trustworthy person who can get along with people. This is a personality contest out here. This is not about qualifying on this or going and taking an advanced lifesaver course or so you can carry combat medic bag or whatever, light version of that. This isn't about that. People are going to hire the person, not like these are all the requirements for that job. They're fine and dandy, but you can usually train that person. You can't train them on how to be competent. You can't train them on their attitude. There's a lot of things that you can't train on that are soft skills. That is what these employers are looking for. I've been in a room, like I've said before, plenty of times, where we're in these contract negotiations that are going nowhere, and you got 10 real strong personalities in a small room, and if you could throat punch someone and legally get away with it, doesn't seem like a bad idea sometimes, but these employers don't want that to happen. They need team symbology, or synergy. It just needs team synergy. So I looked up. I had a guy about my age last night, talking to him, middle of nowhere, infantry guy, say, I put my job into these websites, and I can go be a security guard. I can be Paul Bart at the Mall of America. That kind of shit, right? And it's like, here we got a senior enlisted guy who has all this operational experience. Doesn't know what he wants to be, but willing to lean on a shovel, start off at the bottom if that's what's necessary. So when you look at what a senior enlisted guy is, and guys, if you're a non-commissioned officer, that last word is important. You're still an officer. You're in charge of people. You're a manager of people. If you don't get your shit done, you got to deal with the sergeant major. That's not a good place to do. According to our poll yesterday, divorced sergeant major was the most badass thing on the planet, right? You don't want to deal with that guy. Most of you guys would rather deal with the SEAL or Air Force PJ guy. So you're an officer. Every one of you is some sort of operations manager or a safety manager. You're trained in cross-team functional nonsense. You've dealt with these diverse groups. None of us give two shits about a person's skin tone or where they were born or who they pray to. None of that stuff. We don't care about it. That's like a foreign concept to vets, because if you are willing to bleed, we're cool. That's it. We don't give a shit about those things that just don't matter. We care about that person's character. So if you look at career fields like project management, not program, none of that stuff, but like project managers, operations managers, safety managers. If you look at a platoon sergeant in the Army, infantry guy, whatever it happens to be, and you got to move guys from A to B and get them there safely, you're a safety manager. You're not a shoot the person in the face manager. You're a safety manager. You make sure that you guys start off from A and get to B alive. And you have to narrate that kind of stuff in a way that doesn't sound like it's violent. Okay? So, moved 30 people on 45 convoys from A to B without any safety incidences. 5 times, however, we had safety issues that we had to mitigate, and we had a 100% safety rate at the end of our deployment. Does that make sense? Anyway, keep inviting those people. We can use them all. Let's get them back to work. Let's get them back on their feet. Let's restore their dignity. Keep on hitting me up on the side. That's cool. Send me a text message. I don't give a shit. Send me your resume. Give me some feedback. At least my opinion. It's like everyone else. Probably doesn't matter. But stay positive. Keep giving me feedback. And let's keep this thing going, battle buddies.